clearance, the project is gone through many screening steps. Like first one is the scoping, sorry, first one is screening, then scoping, then public hearing, followed by the appraisal report. Then after that, the environmental clearance is made. So all these are done with respect to or by referring the Environmental Protection Act 1994, which is revised in 2006, that is EPA 2006, and the different executive committees at central government and state government levels are involved for the approval or rejection of the project. And we also discussed some environmental protection act like water protection act, air protection act, wind protection act, forest protection act, etc. And today we will have some historical background of EIA, followed by the next things are there. So now I am presenting my screen with you. Hmm. I think it is very much. I think it is visible to you all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Oh, so this is a general introduction and history of EIA, which is in your block one and block two, or part of your PDF, that is MEV-16, and this is just a training introduction, basic knowledge of the participant about EIA. EIA starts in 1960 in industrial countries like USA, and it is silent spring by Rachel Carison. And this is a 1966 New York City buried under a sea of smog, like our nowadays in New Delhi gets covered with smog due to the agricultural fire that is from the site of Punjab and Haryana. So Delhi is now the most polluted city of India, and of course it is around the second or third ranked polluted city among the world. So this is the 1966. In the year of 1966, this is another environmental crisis, that is Chuahoga River burn in 1966, third time in USA due to different environmental concern. And we have the environmental crisis in the industrial economies. 1952, killer fog kills 4,000 people in London. There is a fog was sprayed, that is environmental adverse fog, which kills 4,000 people. 1963, the Rachel Carison silent spring document, negative effect of DDT. The DDT is nothing but our dichlorodiethyl trichloroethane, which is used as a pesticide. 1966, that is the third one. Cuyahoga River in Ohio catches fire. So looking back from today, the cause we obvious. It is the population growth. So no doubt this is the primary cause of environmental accidents or environmental crisis, followed by the natural resource pressure, urbanization, industrialization, unrestrained profit motive. So these are all the primary cause of environmental pollution or environmental crisis we have nowadays. These forces were all combining to create unprecedented environmental damage. So this includes a natural resource pressure. That means by use of your non-renewable source of energies, their natural sources gets deteriorated, and consequently there will be environmental crisis. Urbanization will be there by cutting, that is the afforestation, sorry, the deforestation were made, where thousands and thousands of trees were cut for the name of urbanization. And industrialization, the same way we sprayed different type of area, that is adverse aerial gases to the environment, to the atmosphere, which impact directly and indirectly the water bodies, air bodies, which ultimately um, leads to the environmental crisis. Then it is a profit motive. So this is the one of the psychological or financial cause to the human being, which always looking for the profit by any means. So nowadays the profit is by the in lieu of the mean of the environment. So these are the primary causes. So why should developing countries are about EAA? So this is in early 70s. Several Pakistani workers died as a result of negligent pesticide management procedure. So these are some case studies through by virtue of which our environmental impact assessment act or environmental protection act was formulated. Almost all donor agencies now have similar procedures. The difficult answer, because the environmental crisis faced by most developing countries is at least serious as that of the industrialized countries in the 60s and 70s. These are low levels of industrialization, but high population growth and urbanization, use of hazardous substances, environmental degradation due to poverty. So these are the case study between 1960 to 1970. So this is a chemical pollution, which is obsolete pesticide, and it is in Mozambique. Then this is deforestation. Trees are cleared for planting in Guinea. And already yesterday we have discussed about the Bhopal gas tragedy, that is methyl isocyanate in 3rd December 1984. Over 2000 plus people gets died. Cities with worst air quality, developing countries megacities, millions of deaths per year from environmental condition, particularly poor sanitation. So these are the some examples of water, sorry, of India. And the major environment issues in Africa, the continent has the world poorest and most resource dependent population. It carries the highest health burden due to severe environmental problems. These include desertification and soil degradation, declining food security, and increasing water scarcity. In Asia and Africa, that is right, rapid economic growth, urbanization, industrialization. These are the same things that leads to the environmental crisis, which make the conclusion of the poverty of the people. Then it is the Eastern Europe and Central Asia, that is, despite progress with economic restructuring and environmental cleanup, there is a legacy of industrial population and contaminated land during communist era. In many areas, emission of particulate, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, heavy metal, lead, and toxic chemicals continue to expose residents to health risks. So these are some examples. The National Environmental Policy Act 1969 of USA is the legislative basis of Environmental Impact Assessment Act. The policy was the result of widespread recognition in the 1960 major environmental problem, which are created by the government project, that is establishment of power station, dams, reservoirs, and industrial complexes. And so United Nations Environmental, that is UNECE Convention on EIA in a transboundary context, that is in 1991, and consequently where different type of convention, different type of conferences, seminars were held after that to frame the environmental impact assessment act strongly throughout the world. And India is also not far behind. So this is the four cornerstones of earth. That is, it is the summit, that is the Rio Declaration, followed by the Framework Convention on Climate Change, Convention on Biological Diversity, and Agenda 21. So these are the four pillars or stones of the Earth Summit. So the Rio Declaration on Earth and Development, it is a set of principles which provide guidance on achieving sustainable development. And in Framework Convention on Climate Change, it is international treaty to stabilize greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere. In Convention on Biological Diversity, it is an international convention with three objectives: the conservation of biodiversity, sustainable use of its component, and the equitable sharing of benefit from genetic resources. Then it is the Agenda 21, the global program of action for achieving sustainable development to which countries are politically committed rather than legally obliged. So these are the four cornerstones of the earth. So as discussed yesterday, EIA is a systematic tool for decision making. So it is a planning and management tool for the evaluation, screening of the proposed project to be accepted, rejected at the authority level, and what is the impact which are very much scrutinized or screened by EIA. This is the deviation from the baseline situation. This is the reference situation of the baseline situation, and the impact is defined as the activity. An activity is a deviation from the baseline. So it is the impact. To measure the impact, you must know the baseline situation. The baseline situation is the existing environmental situation or condition in the absence of the activity. So when no environmental impact assessment as activity was made, so before that, if we know the baseline or baseline situation, then we can compare what is the precondition and what is the post condition of the environment. So the baseline situation is the key concept to environmental impact assessment. The characterizing the baseline situation, many environment components may be of interest. The component of interest are those that are likely to be affected by your activity or upon which your activity depends for it. So the environmental components in which the baseline situation is very much clear, that is there the components may be the primary needs of human being, that is the water, followed by soil, fauna and environmental health, flora and special ecosystem. So underwater we have the quantity or quality of water, its relative reliability and accessibility. So reliability, so how far it is reliable for drinking, how far it is reliable for bathing, etc. So depend on the quality of the water. And the soil, similarly we have the baseline situation, that is the standard soil erosion, what is the fertility of the soil, what is the crop productivity, what is the fallow period, salinity, etc. So under fauna, we have population and habitat. So these are the baseline situation. Under environmental health, we have disease vectors and pathogens. Under flora, composition and density of natural vegetation, productivity, key species. And under special ecosystem, we have some key species. So this is a baseline situation is not simply a snapshot. Describing the baseline situation requires describing both the normal variability and environmental component and current trend in this component. So just see here, the water top or water container in the form of concrete square, it is very much filled with water. That means it is the baseline. So any deviation from this baseline situation is monitored, or it is assessed, analyzed by the environmental impact assessment. So this chart of groundwater levels show both variability and trend over time. Both are part of the groundwater baseline situation. So this indicates the groundwater as well as the baseline situation. So type of impact and their attributes. So EIA concerned with all type of impact like intensity, how intense the deviation from the baseline situation is, and in which direction that this deviation is supposed to be happen, what are the special extents are there, that is duration, what is the time period, frequency, that is how repeatedly a environmental crisis is or was held repeatedly, reversibility, so whether the impact is reversible or irreversible, that is it is cyclic, that is reversible, or it is not cyclic, and probability, so how what is the probability of its next next cycle. So on the basis of different aspects, impact can be differentiated into many types, that is direct and indirect impact. Like in Bhopal gas tragedy, the 2000 plus people were directly died on the same day, that is 3rd December 1984, and this may be treated as the direct impact. What are the indirect impact? Indirect impact is they may have lost their habitat, they lost their agriculture food, they lost their future generation health. So these are the indirect impacts. Short term and long term impact the same way. Yeah, the nuclear mm, disaster or nuclear bomb that is fallen, just a moment, that is dropped by American government. Just wait. So in the same way, the short term and long term impact. Let's have a discussion, that is the two nuclear bombs which are being dropped on the Japan by USA in the Second World War, and that environmental that incident or that nuclear disaster leads to a long term impact on the environment and its vicinity. So on the basis of its impact, it may be short term and long term, adverse and beneficial impact, and there are two types of that is positive and negative impacts may be seen in a particular environmental crisis or environmental incident. Then cumulative impacts are there, and but all impacts are not treated equally. This is very important. So depending on the intensity, direction, duration, spatial extent, frequency, reversibility, probability, depending on these parameters, the impact is described accordingly and the measures can be taken accordingly. So specifically, it is essential in EIA to focus on the most significant impact. Do not waste effort and time analyzing and discussing impact that are less important. So always we should look for the major hazard or major disaster or the major we can say it measure loss we have, and accordingly we may prepare or react ourselves. So this is the general process of EIA. This is a flow chart. So the project is proposed. Proposal is identification. Proposal identification is the first step. So after the proponent submit the project proposal to the concerned authority, it is the authority duty or the duty of the organization, that is duty of the office, to identify the proposal. Then after identification, it is the screening test. That is, it is in the screening test we have the categorization of the project, that the project is of high class project, so it may be categorized under A, and it is the second type or third type, it may be depend on B1 and B2 type project. So this is the initial environmental examination. So after screening, then it is now EIA required or not. It depends on the type of project. If the project type is A or B1, it require EIA required. If it is B2, then EIA is not required. Then if EIA is required, then the second one is scoping, that is term of reference. The term of reference means it is now the duty of the reviewing committee to look after the detail of the project, depth of the project, consequences of the project, the the environmental aspect may be positive or negative impact, depends on the project type. So these are all involved in your scoping step. So after scoping, if it is impact analysis, which is done by the reviewer committee. If it is type A, it is the environmental executive committee, that is EC. And if it is a type B1, that is SEIAA, that is state environmental impact assessment authority. So depending on the type of project, we have different type of authorities and different process of its clearance. Then we have, after analysis, it is mitigation and impact management. If the impact is analyzed, then it is the that is the known as the mitigation and impact measurement. How the impact may be managed or mitigated at the ground level. Then the EIA final EIA report is prepared, and on the basis of that, it gets reviewed by the concerned authority. And in between EIA report, we have another step, that is after scoping, we also the public participation. Public participation is there, and public participation report is also included in the EIA report, and it gets reviewed. So after reviewed, the final decision making step was made, and in the decision making we have two possibilities, that the project may be approved or rejected. If it is approved, then it is implemented and its work is going on, that is it is follow up. It is not approved, then the project is sent to the proponent, and some reviewer comment or suggestions are made there, on the basis of which the project may be redesigned and reformulated, and after reformulation it may be resubmitted to again the concerning authority. So these are the this is a flow chart, that is how EIA process is held when a particular type of project is submitted. So what are the core values of EIA? A number of core values and guiding principles of the practice of EIA have been identified, that is sustainability, integrity, utility, continuity, participatory, transparency, credibility, certainty, cost effectiveness, flexibility, practicality, and accountability. So these are all our core values of EIA, which is already discussed in yesterday's class. So you just remember this uh, the core values, and accordingly you are just advised to write 2 or 3 lines of the each core values, and these are very much familiar to you. So what is an activity? We are discussing the impacts of activity. So an activity is a desired accomplishment or output. It is maybe a road, seedling production, river diversion to irrigate land. A project or program may consist of many activities, like accomplishing an activity requires a set of action. Market access road rehabilitation, the action is survey, grading, culvert construction, compaction, etc. So for a project to done or a project to made, we have some primary and secondary activities are there. So by the implementation of that primary and secondary activity, the project is run very well, and the project is supposed to be a good project if its primary and secondary activities are done very smoothly. So EIA process, so it has phase 1 and phase 2. The phase 1, this is the initial inquiries. This is the phase 1, that is nothing but our screening step. In screening step, the project is just categorized. So before categorization, it is the understand proposed activity. So the reviewer first understand what is the proponent is trying to say or trying to speak. Then it is the screening, conduct preliminary assessment. Then under scoping, we have the term of references, evaluate baseline situation. So with respect to the baseline situation, the term of reference is carried out with the final review report. Identify and choose alternatives. Identify and categorize potential impact of proposed activity and each alternative. Develop mitigation and monitoring. Communicate and document. So these are all involved in your scope step. Then in phase 1, we have the first one is the understand proposed activity. Why is the activity being proposed and what is being proposed? Like in your fourth semester, you have a project paper, that is MEV-11, and in that paper, you are supposed to submit a project proposal before regional center Bhubaneswar, and they will access your project proposal, or they will evaluate your project proposal by sending that proposal or synopsis to a professor in government college or any university. So after that, after the reviewing work done by that professor in the university or college, your project may be accepted or rejected based on your objective of the project, outcome of the project, and what is your methodology of analysis, what is your probable solution, and finally what is your conclusion and future aspect. So these things are there on which the professor, that is your reviewer, is likely to accept or reject your project proposal. So um, so after the approval of your project proposal, it is your duty to perform the project work within 3 months and place your final report before the evaluation committee in New Delhi. And in New Delhi, from New Delhi, you will get a Gmail, that is Google Meet, and by using that link, you are just supposed to join and face the Viva. So in that Viva, the first question you will face, this question: why is the activity being proposed? So they will ask you why you choose this project for your project work. This is the first question. And then what is being projected? So what you are trying to say. So these are the two common questions which is being asked by the expert from IGNOU New Delhi headquarters to each and every student of MSc Environmental Science. So why you choose this topic and what is your thought or what is being proposed. So if you answer these two questions very technically or tactfully, then you might get good mark in your MEVP, that is project paper. Then after that, you're screening the activity the same way based on nature, that is the baseline situation is now depend. Then activities of moderate or known risk, conduct a preliminary assessment and so on. So this is another cyclic process of how your screening step is done in environmental impact assessment. Then we have the understand the proposed activity. We must understand the development objective to identify environmentally sound alternatives. So just here, just see why is the activity being proposed is answered with the development objective, that is building a road, increasing access to market. So the second answer will be much more prominent or much more it is acceptable than the first one, than building a road. ଯଦି ଜଣେ ପଚାରିବ ଯେ ତମେ ପ୍ରୋଜେକ୍ଟଟା କାହିଁ କଲ, ଯଦି କଣ୍ଟ୍ରାକ୍ଟର କହିବ ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ରୋଡ ତିଆରି କରିବା ପାଇଁ ପ୍ରୋଜେକ୍ଟଟା କରୁଛି. So this is not a valid reason to perform that project. If the contractor or the engineer they answer that for increasing access to market, maybe the area may be too much congested, a new ways to market is required. So to increase the access to the market, this project is being done. So this might be a good answer or good acceptable reason to perform that project. So in the same way, you are suggested to have your project accordingly, and always you should think of the positive side of your project, okay, which overcomes all the negative aspects that may be included. Once we understand the development objective, we must fully understand what is being proposed. ଯଦି ଆମେ କ'ଣ ଡେଭଲପ୍ ହେଉଛି ଆମର ଅବଜେକ୍ଟିଭରେ କ'ଣ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଛି ତାକୁ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଜଷ୍ଟିଫାଇ କରିପାରିବା, ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ ସେ ପ୍ରୋଜେକ୍ଟଟାକୁ ଭଲରେ ବୁଝିପାରିବା. So this include associated action, primary activity, construction of diversion dam and irrigation canal. Associated action, this is the primary, this is a project that is construction of a diversion dam and irrigation canal. So what is the associated action? The first one will be field survey or area survey. Then the second one will be negotiation of land and tenure. More lands are required, so negotiation is required. Construct borrow pit, establish construction camp, construction temporary diversion structure, dispose of soil and debris. So these are all are the secondary actions or the associated actions which are associated with the primary goal of the project. Then it is the screen. It is nothing but your term of reference, which is screen is the process of asking a very basic set of questions about the nature of the activity, do not require analysis, do not require detailed knowledge about the proposed site, technique and method. For example, if does the activity involve penetration of road building, large scale irrigation, introduction of non-native crop or agroforestry species, etc. The screening classifies the activity into risk category, that is very low risk, high risk, and moderate. So depending upon the risk factor, and it is also directly related to the impact. If your impact is very hazardous impact, then high level risks will be there. Then we have the low level risks and moderate risks will be there. To overcome the screening process, determine the next step in the EIA. Each donor agency and national EIA law has its own set of screening questions. Screening is the topic of an upcoming module. The preliminary assessment. Preliminary assessment is the screening one. I just skip these things. This is repeatedly we are talking the same thing. And typical preliminary assessment, that is a background of the project, that is related to your objective, list of activities, description of the baseline situation, evaluation of potential environmental impact, mitigation and monitoring, then recommended finding or recommended solutions. So these are the 5 steps of your assessment of a project, that we should have the feasible objective that must be reachable, that is the feasible, and we should know the baseline situation. Third one is the potential environmental impact evaluation, then followed by your monitoring and mitigation and recommended findings. So this is the mitigation of the impact. So mitigation is nothing but the implementation of measures designed to reduce the undesirable effect of a proposed action on the environment. Mitigation is the topic of an upcoming module. So after mitigation, we have the findings, that is the recommended findings. We have identify potential impact, predict potential impact, and diagnose significance of potential impact. Many resources describe the potential impact of typical small scale activities. And second one, determine the potential impact that are likely to become actual and quantify this impact to the extent possible. And the third one, it is the judgment, or it is the decision making of the significance of the potential impact. To determine whether the predicted impacts are indeed significant, this will often depend on how effective or proposed mitigation measures are. So depending upon the type of impact, its magnitude, intensity, time, that is the period, the probability, all these may be taken into consideration for the impact to be assessed, and the findings may be formulated. Subsequent modules present tools to assist in identifying and predicting impacts, discuss the factors involved in judging significance. So these are the subsequent modules. We only proceed to phase 2 of EIA process if phase 1 indicates that a full EIA study is required. Most small scale activity do not require a full EIA study. So the second one is the phase 2 EIA process, that also involves the same way, that is the scoping, screening, public participation, and finally the appraisal report. The full EIA study has very similar objective and structure to a preliminary assessment. This is more or less same. However, full EIA study differs in important ways. That is, a formal scoping process proceeds the study to ID issue to be addressed. Analysis of environmental impact is much more detailed. Alternatives must be formally defined. The impact of Each alternative must be identified and evaluated, and the result that are compared with public participation. That is also very much a useful requirement. A professional EIA team is usually required. So this is just a next level EIA study for advanced projects or category A type project, where two-phase scrutiny or two-phase analysis is required to make the final decision on the environmental clearance. It is the same way, that is with a few addition. The scoping step is also modified. That is the scoping. It is the evaluation of the baseline, identify, choose the alternative, identify and characterize potential impact of proposed activity and each alternatives, compare alternatives, and develop mitigation and monitoring. So these are some of the phase 2 scoping. Then we have, in summary, the full EIA study is a far more significant effort than the preliminary assessment. It is reserved for activities for which screening or the preliminary assessment shows that significant impacts are likely to be made. So full EIA study is very much required for category A type project, and here, after public participation, the reviewer report is formulated accordingly, and it is placed before the authority to make the decision. So who is involved in EIA? The sponsor of the activity, usually commission, conduct the EIA, regulatory agency, review authority, board based public, their communities, men and women, civil society and private sectors. So these are the persons who are involved in EIA. So public consultation is usually only required for full EIA study, because public consultation, it is made included, and it is included under 2006 Environmental Protection Act, which is just supersede the Environmental Protection Act in 1996. So however, it is good practice for preliminary assessment, because predicting impact is facilitated by broad based public consultation. Judging significance is very difficult without it. Transparency and accessibility require disclosure to stakeholders. So this is, I think, the making EIA effective. So it is an effective tool for your sustainable development. That is, environmental impact assessment must be integral part of project development cycle. The proponent must have the honesty, transparent and accessible. EIA is undertaken early through to affect project design, mitigation monitoring develop in the EIA process is implemented. In the honesty part, we have the full EIA study must consider real alternatives. Impacts must be assessed honestly. The EIA product must be clear and accessible to key actors. So these are some EIA effectives are there. And this is the last slide, I think. Cost and benefit of your EIA. So there the benefits are, there are two types benefit, direct and indirect. More environmentally sustainable design or improvement in the design, better compliance with environmental standard, saving in capital and operating cost, reduce time and cost for approval of development application, resolve conflicts, solve problems, and thus increase project acceptability, improve institutional coordination and interagency cooperation, improve accountability and transparency in planning and decision making. For business and government, EIA important planning and management tool, environment assessment, good management, good business. So these are just very much correlate to each other. If you go for a good business, it is less than good management, which is less than good environmental assessment. So these are some things related to our EIA. And what is the cost? That is exact cost of preparing is often difficult. The proponent is usually responsible for carrying out an environmental impact assessment and incurring associated cost. Too late introduction or start of EIA in the project cycle, poor drafting of term of reference, this is very important, that is poor drafting, inadequate management of EIA according to schedule, inadequacy of EIA report and requirement for additional technical data and upgrading result in prolonged time duration for the administration of EIA process and hence more financial resources. So these are some financial concern of EIA, and always we should remember that the drafting of the proposed project must be good and it must be concise to the limited words, that is framed to by the authority, that is the EIA agency, and within that stipulated limited words we concise our writing, and accordingly we should focus on the main ingredients of our project and highlighting the main points or main theme of the project accordingly. Government planning and decision making, there is DDD, that is discuss, decide and deliver. So discuss with the public, decide by the authority and deliver by the proponent. So these three DDD are there for to make a project success. So this is the first part of today's discussion, and in the second part we will have the the block 2, that is your legal policy and regulatory framework. Today we will discuss this part after 5 minutes. Let's have a break of 5 minutes. I will take some water, and after that I will discuss these things, that is block 2. And block 1 already up to unit 2 was covered by Dr. Susan Das, and yesterday and
Sir,
today yes.
sir, ସୁକାନ୍ତ ସାର୍ ଦିଟା ୟୁନିଟ୍ ହିଁ କୋର୍ସ କଭର କରିଥିଲେ ସାର୍, ଏବେ ୟୁନିଟ୍ 2 ବି ଅଛି ସାର୍।
ହଁ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି so just I put the unit here, just see.
ହଁ ସାର୍, ହଁ।
Yes, I have both the blocks here. Just Sushant sir covered the concept of EIA. Sorry, this is block 1, and we will go to the unit level.
ସାର୍,
Unit level, yes, unit level. So just see, these are the units.
ୟେସ୍ ସାର୍,
Fundamental of EIA and EIA procedure already covered up by me and Sushant sir both. And
ହଁ ସାର୍,
assessment of EIA, this is the same way the assessment is done by the executive committee and state executive committee. And there is cumulative strategic environment assessment, that is SEA. Just very rapidly I will cover all these units, because overly I already spoke out lots of things related to EIA. And this is the unit 2, and we have unit 3. Yes, this is the assessment methodology. So we will discuss this assessment of EIA of in block 1, and then we will cover block 2 today itself, and block 3 and block 4 we will discuss tomorrow. So let's have a 5 minute of break. After that I will continue with this unit 3. So till then you just go and refresh yourself, and after that we will continue.
ୟେସ୍ ସାର୍।
So up to this, so let's have the break. Am I audible, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now I am sharing the PDF of MEV-16. So let's compare what we taught for the last 2 days and what is there in your PDF. This is Unit 3 of Block 1, that is Assessment of EIA. So the objective of this unit is define EIA, which is covered up. What are the various steps of EIA process already covered up? What is the content of EIA? What is the methodology of EIA? All these are covered up. And on our public hearing, we have a project screening, scoping. All these are same thing. What I have already spoken. In project description and alternative environmental baseline impact identification, impact prediction, impact evaluation, assessment and mitigation. This is your like your scoping step, the environmental impact statement, review of EIS decision making, and that is, and the last one will be post decision. The step involved the same, that is involved in EIA. This is the screening step. After screening, it is your scoping. The same thing is there. It after screening, it is scoping. Just you are advised to read all these. Everything is same. And then it is your under scoping, you have the environmental baseline situation prediction. Then after baseline, it is the impact identification, impact prediction, then impact mitigation. So first আমি impact to identify করিবা, predict করিবা what are the different negative and positive consequences, and then what is the mitigation step. Okay, then after that the EIA report is finalized with the public hearing. With the public hearing, the EIA report is finalized. Then after the decision making was held, then accordingly your environmental clearance was issued. So this is the thing. Then we have some of the aforesaid issues: impact on soil, climate, air quality. So these are some of the issues of the environment on which different environmental related projects are maybe formulated or maybe planned. And after your approval from the concerned authority, the proponent may execute or may plan for this project. Then environment management plan will be there in the project. How your project is helpful for the environmental protection and environmental management in positive sense, that it is not deteriorating the water, soil, air, the wind, etc. This encompasses the below mentioned aspects, that is proposed protection and monitoring measures to avoid or minimize the adverse environmental impact, plans for outer project housing, contingency plan to handle injuries and disaster, monitoring adds feedback mechanism for implementing required safeguards, and human exposure assessment location. HEAL is there. It is also a mitigation step for different impacts related to human. And this HEAL, that is human exposure assessment location, was created in collaboration with United Nations Environmental Protection Act as a part of World Health Organization. Then post project monitoring by the EC team. So these are some of the steps for EIA process. Then concept of EIA, this is already discussed. Then under assessment, we have the steps, how the assessment methodology of the proposed environmental project are defined, that include your ad hoc assessment, checklist assessment, matrices assessment, network assessment, and overlay assessment. So under ad hoc method, this is the simplest one, which is subjective environmental impact on broader aspects, and this method is not recommended. It is just depend on the expert opinion. This is ad hoc. This is just opinion of the expert, and this is the type of ad hoc method. This is of mainly of three types. That opinion pool is there, like KBC, कौन बनेगा करोड़पति. So just the expert will seek opinion from different members of the team, that this project is proposed. What is your opinion? So this is just a we can say it is just a expert opinion type method. And then expert opinion and Delphi method is there. So the Delphi method means it is just the documentation method. Okay. So this method can be proved beneficial as it based on guidance on specialist of the particular area. So the disadvantages, it requires expert opinion. Therefore, short term and long term impact are evaluated on guess basis. This is very important. Guess basis. That means this ad hoc method, it is depends on the expert opinion, that the expert maybe have some knowledge, and he proposed his comment, or he just guess that this might be happen, or this may be possible, like this. Poor identification, prediction, and interpretation of impact may be happen. Then checklist, this is the checklist is another method of assessment of EIA. The checklist may be simple, descriptive, questionnaire, or threshold of concern. So simple checklist like this one. This is a mining project where environmental components are air, water, soil, etc. And what are the project action impact: positive, negative, reversible, useful, long term, or short term. Likewise, no or yes, if we can predict. Descriptive type means some descriptions are here. Then for example, the nuisance, expected industrial process, and traffic volume, citizen survey, this type of questionnaire, that it is known as the survey work, right? In research, it is the survey method, by which different descriptive methods or checklist methods are may be implemented. Questionnaire checklist, this is another method of accessing one project by EIM technique. Some questions are made on the basis of your project theme, and after that you are just supposed to go to the field or the survey area, and you ask the people or the concerned authority that this is my query and what is your answer. Then your threshold checklist will be there. So it is for those who access any proposal should be aware with this. Example is like this. This is threshold. That means we just compare the baseline situation, which is nothing but your threshold level, and this is the standard level, and what is our experimental data. So by comparing these two data, that is threshold data and the raw data, then we can predict what is the type of project and what is its impact on the environment. So advantage, it is easily understandable and usable because all the data are placed here. It is appropriate for site selection and priority selection. So what the disadvantages? It is direct and indirect impacts are distinguishable by this method. It doesn't link action with its impact. It can be tedious task. So these are the disadvantages. Then matrices of a project. We have the type of matrices, that is time dependent, magnitude, weight, and simple matrix. So under simple, we have two-dimensional chart will be there related to two variables. Like in this our soil and geology, we have the construction site and operation site. utilities and residential purpose. We have the park and open space here. So this is just a tabulation form. That is, this is a simple one. Then time dependent matrix. So how much time or days are required for construction, or some project actions are to be planned in a particular area. Then magnitude is there. This is a small negative impact, large impact, small positive impact, large positive impact. So depending upon different environmental components. Then we have Leopold matrix like this. We have some proposed action health, that is immigration of labor, dam construction. So how the health of how many labors got injured or got diseased, so how their health is deteriorated. So depending on, this is a special type of matrix, that is Leopold matrix. Then we have weight matrix is also there, where important weightings are assigned to environmental component. Finally, the project impact on environmental component is assessed and multiplied by appropriate weighting to obtain the total impact of the project. So this is the statistical method. So how this is, just see, A is the relative weighting of environmental component out of 100, and B, impact of project at particular site on environmental component from 0 to 10. So this is an alternative site, this is the B1, and accordingly the matrix is framed. So this is the advantage and net
Hello. 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 Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Sir is was left or what?
I think sir left.
Oh, class is over or what, ma'am?
नहीं नहीं टेक्निकल एरर କିଛି ଥିବ ସା ଜଏନ୍ ହେବେ ପୁଣି ଅପେକ୍ଷା କରନ୍ତୁ।
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So am I audible, students?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
you're
sir.
audible.
Now
Okay,
you are
okay.
audible.
Okay, okay. Actually, there is some network issue. Then the network method is there. This is just like method of EIA management, and this is matrix approach in this method and accounts for primary and secondary impact. So this is another thing. What is the initial condition? What is the consequent condition? And what is the effect? And what is the action? That is the mitigation we have taken. And these are the advantages. This method link action with its impact. Second order impact can be revealed. Disadvantages, it is beyond simplified version. It becomes complex to understand. To understand. So we just correlate the what are the activities of the project and what type of material it used, what are the different factors which might have if affect the project, and accordingly we have some condition that is initial, consequent and effect with the action. Then overlay method. So in overlay method we have a series of thematic map indicating the environmental characteristics. So this is just a thematic map which correlates different environmental parameters with a composite map with the individual map, that how these parameters can be affected or can are affecting the environmental condition of that particular area. It is easy to understand from this map, and displaying method is good, efficient in site selection and qualitative assessment of project's impact. So these are the disadvantages. It is not predicting the direct impact only, and it excludes the indirect impact. Impact duration or probability is not given by this method. This conventional overlay method is limited to 10 transparencies. The user has to identify the likely impact before it is. So this is another way of GIS method, we can say, that is geographic information system, by which we can predict the type of impact it may be that may be affected. The cost benefit analysis there, that is CBA. This is related to the financial or the health, that is the medical issues related to a project. So the cost benefit analysis is a comprehensive and extremely detailed process. The method and analytical detail involved CBA different from other project evaluation formats, particularly in financial and cost effectiveness. So this is already discussed in my last PowerPoint and last page. I think cost and benefit are mentioned there. So main aim of cost benefit analysis, alternative projects. So these are all already discussed. So this depends on the defined aim and purpose, alternative project specification, decision on whose benefit and cost counts, impact category identification, catalog and set matrices. So just remember, students, in your term and examination, as far as my knowledge is concerned, you will in every paper 10 questions need to be right out of 15, right, out of 14. So 14 questions are there in your examination, and out of 14 you are supposed to attempt 10 questions which carry 10 mark each. And you will have a answer sheet which has 25 to 26 blank side pages. So one question must cover maximum of 2.5 page, maximum 2.5 page. So it is recommended to write the answer of every question point wise, That means this point must be write properly, and under this point you just write one sentence. If you go for writing all the things in your answer sheet, then the 25 or 26 page answer paper will be very much less for you for to answer all the questions. So just try to remember these highlighted points for what is the meaning of that and what is the significance. Okay. So monetization of impact, benefit and cost discount to obtain present value, computation of net present value with respect to each alternative. So these are all, this is net present value, it is the present value of B minus present value of C, or it is equal to PVNS B. PVNS we just see here, it is your net social benefit, and this is a net present value. So perform sensitivity analysis is there and making a recommendation is there. So this is the way we can proceed for a project under EIA. So after this we have the number 4 unit, that is cumulative and strategic environmental assessment, and under this we have the content, that is overview, benefit of strategic environmental assessment, and the procedures, that is initiating plan, screening, scoping, preparation of a report, and post strategic environmental assessment monitoring. So this is just same as your EIA, and under this we will have the different objective, that is discuss various concept of ACA, evolution of ACA, that is the historical part, strategic environmental assessment, explain SEA, carry out environmental impact assessment. So this is the overview, just to go through this. What are the benefits? It is an improved plan over your EIA. So it address environmental concern and correction of the plan and program at the early stage of planning process, which will result in economic saving. SCA can facilitate leverage of many organizations generally involved in the formulation of policies. In certain cases, strategic environmental assessment may make project EIA unnecessary. So alternative like applying different technology and sustainable resources, their positive environment impact if considered the policy, plan or program consideration stage, land ownership and economic consideration. So just go through this thing. This is just a advanced version of your EIA, which includes the advanced technology, the advanced method of public participation, and this is a planned scientific way of analyzing or assessing the proposed project. This is just a C, that is allows finding completely new solution. Just this is a case study, and under C procedure and guideline we have initiating plan and program. First the plan should be initiated, and this environmental criteria to be taken into account is in ecologically sensitive area, biodiversity, flora and fauna, population, health, soil, water, storm water management, etc. Then screening or decision on necessity of SEA. Initial stage of SEA procedure is making decision on its necessity. So screening is the same process like our EIA. So it is important SEA originated after EIA with inputs from biophysical planning and policy analysis. So this is the main line or primary sentence of the belongs to SEA. That is SEA is formulated after EIA, and it is addition to EIA, it is the addition of biophysical planning and policy analysis. The overall purpose of SEA, that is strategic environmental assessment, was to ensure environmental issues which would be adequately considered at early stage of development policy making and planning. So this is by a case by case examination, specifying type of plan and program, combination of the above tools. Here, air pollution indicators, so ambient air quality, emission level of particulate matter, emission level of nitrogen oxide. So these are some parameters. So by obtaining different data of a particular air sample, we may have the strategic environmental assessment. Then the similar way, it is the water pollution indicators, COD, OD, BOD, heavy metal, TDS, nutrient load, microbiological parameter, all these things are there. Then soil population, salinity, crystallinity, heavy metal, nutrient, microbiology, these are all there in your screening. Then scoping, the same as our EIA. These requirements specified and describe policy plan and works to be implemented. So this is the drafting part of your project. Okay. So this is the plan and program, link with other strategic action, sustainable issues and SEO objective. What is the objective of your project? Baseline information, that is baseline situation. Communication and public participation is there. Integration of SEA with different phases of plan and program. So this includes in your scope. So in EIA, your scoping and public participation are two different things, but in SEA, the there is plan and program profile along with your public communication and public participation is there. So then after, it is the preparation of a review of SEA report. So this is the things that current status of environment and its future development needs and trends, environmental component which currently face degradation and need improvement, environmental parameter. Just go through these things. These are all some sort of conclusions or final report of your proposed project. Then we have, I think, different matrices can be implemented for your strategic environmental assessment. Then checklists are there. Use of GIS can be popularly used. That is, GIS system are more popular nowadays for a type of EIA that can be implemented for a particular project. Then the same way, networking and systematic diagrams are there. So just you should, it is not possible to remember all the things bit by bit. Just remember what are the key words or key points which are to be remembered and which are to be understand before uh, going to the details. Okay. So after block 1, it is our block 2. So in block 2, we have legal policy regulation and framework, and this is very much historical part of our EIA, where we have Government of India and environmental impact assessment system. What is its process and procedure? The same thing: screening, scoping, public participation, and last one is your appraisal report. Then some Environmental Protection Act 1986, then followed by EIA policy 1994, EIA notification, again the second notification 2006, and how the EIA clearance be made. So this is our unit 5. So GUI and EIA system. So as already discussed, that depending on the type of project we proposed, it is under screening or it is under reviewed by Government of India, that is central government, or through different agencies like the executive committee proposed by central government or the state executive committee proposed by SEIAA, that is state environmental impact assessment agency, and that type A project will be forwarded to Ministry of Environment and for Environment, Forest and Climate Change Department, sorry, Ministry, and the type B1 is forwarded to the state government. So the yesterday one student asking, sir, how we can categorize a project belongs to which type of category? That is, which project is A type, B1 type, B2 type, etc. So here it is written that the project which are forwarded to Ministry of Environment and Forest, the project is of very huge turnout, a very huge estimate, like highway projects mainly adjacent to the ecologically sensitive area, for instance national parks, sanctuaries, tiger reserve, reserve forests, etc. Highway infrastructure in Himalayan region, mining project, oil gas production, transportation, storage setup, nuclear power and related project. So all these projects are related to a type A. Then EIA process the same way, which is already it is explained, that is screening, scoping, baseline collection, impact analysis, mitigation, public hearing, decision making, again the monitoring and implementation of environment management plan, EMP. Then after that it is the assessment of alternate possibilities and describing mitigation measure, risk assessment, and after that it is your final EIA report. So it is more or less same as discussed earlier. Okay, so I just skip these things because it is already discussed. Then EIA policy and legislation, rule and act. So in 1981 and 87, in 81 the Air Prevention Amendment Act was framed, and 87 it is Air Control of Pollution Act, Amendment Act was framed. Environmental Protection Act 1986, Forest Protection Act, sorry, Forest Conservation Act 1980. So just try to remember these things. So then EIA process, monitor and assesses the following component. Under air environment, we have to cover the ambient air quality, impact of emission on particular area, monitoring of the quantity of emission expected from proposed project, pollution control and maintenance of air quality standard, site specific meteorological data. Under water, we have assessment of probability of water recycling, reuse and description, and so on. And we have in biological, we have for flora, fauna, biological stress, biodiversity, potential damage to terrestrial biodiversity, etc. Under land, we have soil erosion, soil characteristics, then historical monument, heritage places, etc. Then under noise, we have assessment of noise level within the impact zone, identification of impact due to anticipated increase in the surrounding environment, and so on. Constitutional legal provisions. So under different articles of our constitution, there are various rules and regulations are there for the protection of our mother earth or mother India and its environment. So just you just make a table like format. Okay, and in left side you just write the article number, and and the right hand side you just put the declaration or anything description that that article made. So article 21, it is right to pollution free environment. So all these things are written here, that is under which article, what is the amendments in our constitution. Article 14 states what, article 21. Then article 21 is important because it is it frequently comes as your short note. Okay, 5 marks. And it says no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according procedure established by law. So this is the article 21. Then again, the general category, we have Environment Protection Act 1986, authorizes the central government for safeguard, improve the environmental quality, decrease limit pollution from all sources, to ban, control, setting, operation of any industrial facility on environmental ground. Again, the Environmental Protection Rule in 1986, this formulate measures of fixing criteria for effluent emission or discharge of environmental pollution that is related to the air pollution. So under 89, what is this? It is the hazardous waste. 2002, that is noise pollution. So forest and wildlife, we have 1927 and 72. That is the number 27 and 72. It is Indian Forest Act Amendment E4, Wild Protection and 1973. Just go through these things and try to remember as far as possible uh, with respect to your capacity. Okay. Then water. This is the Easement Act 82, Fishery Act 97, River Board Act 56 1956. So just read out these things. For air, what are the different type of act we have, and this is important. This might be come in your government examination. That the Environmental Protection Act 1986. So in 1986, okay, government of India, when the Bhopal tragedy was held in 1984, December 3rd, in 1996, that means after almost 1.5 year, government of India has established environmental department. Okay, that is environmental department of environmental protection. It is the department in 1986, and the protection rule was framed 1986. Then after that, the department was renamed to Ministry of Environment, Forest, and in 2006. And after that, the department is again renamed, and it is now called as the Ministry of Environment, Forest, and Climate Change. Okay. So this Environment Protection Act, this has 4 chapters and 26 section. Chapter 1 gives the primary information, that is short title, extent, date, commencement, and definition. Second section of the chapter 2 describe the general power of central government. Chapter 3 gives the central government to power to take action to protect the environment. Chapter 4 permits the government to engage officers to realize these objectives. So there are 4 chapters. So accordingly, you just note down these things very point-wise manner, just 1, 2, 3, 4 point. It is very much, it will be very much easier for you to remember these things. So, what are the different powers confirmed by the Environmental Protection Act are monitored under following heads: amendment to principal rule, coastal regulation zone, delegation of power, eco mark theme, eco sensitive zone, environmental clearance in general, environmental lab, environmental standard. These are there. EIA policy framework, that is your Central Water Commission is there, which is framed in 1975. So which formulate the EIA policy, okay, for water related environmental issues. So after independence in 1972, what is the history? Just go through these things, students, okay. And there is a commission, that is National Committee on Environmental Planning and Coordination, NCEPC. These are all history. Then this is another long question, that is EIA notification 1994. So on this, we have Environmental Protection Act 1986, and on the road to realize the objective of the act, the government legalized the environmental impact assessment 1994, that is 27 Jan 1994. The Ministry of Environmental first notified EIA under Rule 5, and according to Environmental Protection Act 1986. It is the prediction, the environmental impact project, determine the ways and means to reduce and the adverse impact, shape the projects to harmonize with the local environment, offer the estimation and possibilities to the decision maker. So, in just remember in 1986, that is the sorry, in EIA notification 1994, what is the main two drawback? The first drawback is all the projects are communicated to the only the central government office or central government organization, that is Ministry of Environmental and Forest. And the second drawback is it doesn't include the public participation. But in 2006, there is a second notification of Environmental Protection Act. The power of central government is now decentralized to state government, and public participation was made included. Okay, so these are some modification. Just read. These are very easy things for you to understand. What type of projects are there, and what is the different steps for environmental clearance. All the things are here. And in EIA notification 2006, what is the modification, what is the new amendments are done with respect to EIA notification 1994. So the primary two modifications I have already highlighted. And one thing is there, the various stakeholders, member of the civil society, NGO, local community, these are all are now included in our 2006. So other provisions, there is water prevention 74, water control 77, forest conservation 1980, air 1981, and environmental act 1986, public liability insurance 1991, biological diversity act 2002. So all these things are there. And NGT is another good initiative by our government of India, that is National Green Tribunal, where the environment is issues are legally be held, and in different civil cases are also filed. Okay, and this is just a tribunal that is include your our wildlife, scheduled tribe and other traditional forest dwellers. So all these things are there in our NGT. EIA clearance, so it is already discussed after the process of screening, scoping, impact analysis, sorry, identification impact, analysis of impact, then our public participation, then appraisal report, then after that mitigation step of impact, then the last one will be the commendation of the EIA report to the authority, that is Ministry of Environmental and Forest and CC, climate change. Then after that, the EIA, on the basis of that EIA report and public participation report, the final environmental clearance can be made. Okay, so these are the things. Just try to remember these things, and concise your writing within 2 to 2.5 pages. Okay, so I think unit 5 is almost over. So if required, identification project site by the reviewer committee, conducting environmental EIA and preparation of EIA report. Then expert committee of for EIA, it may be include from the field of ecosystem management, population control, water resource management, biodiversity conservation. So all these are some central or state government agencies or organizations. So the experts, professionals from different environmental related organization are appointed as expert members for the evaluation of the project. And again, the environmental clearance, regardless of the type of project, what type of projects need environmental clearance: airport, archaeological monument, area of scientific and geological interest. So all these things are written here. That is issue of NOC, that will be issued when the just you just pass all the legal formalities, all the impact assessments. So once the EIA is ready, the project proponent has to approach to the state pollution control board or state forest department in case the project has involved use of forest land for issue of NOC. Then SPCB will hand over the EC, that is environmental clearance, to the proponent. Then public hearing will be there. Then we have a submission application to MOEF for category A type project and state government for category B type. Then appraisal report will be ready on the basis of your screening, scoping, identification of impact, its analysis and mitigation. Then on the basis of Environmental Protection Act 2006, the Environmental Policy 2006, your environmental clearance will be made. Okay. So encourage regulatory authorities, central and state, to institutionalize regional and cumulative environmental impact assessment to ensure that environmental concerns are identified and addressed at the planning stage itself. So these are the cycle to get the environmental clearance. Here the clearance is okay, and just see how tedious the process is. Identification of project, conferring the compliance of the report location within the guidelines. If the site doesn't agree with the norm, alternate project site may be identified. Okay. Then assessment by project proponent, if proposed activity or project falls under the purview of environmental clearance. Just read out these things. Then the categorization: A, B1, B2 type. If it is A, then it is clarified by the central government. If it is B, it is again of two types, B1 and B2. B2 doesn't require EIA report, B1 required EIA report, EIA is ready. Then the project proponent approaches State Pollution Control Board or State Forest Department for the clearance. Then assessment of the project done by SPCB for quantity and quality effluent likely to be generated. Then public hearing was done. If satisfied, NOC is issued. If not, if satisfied, SPCB issues the NOC. Category B application submitted to state government. Category A application submitted to MOEF. Okay. So these things are there. Then here, if public hearing by district collector is made, and if they are satisfied, then NOC is issued for type B1. So type A, the same process is carried out by MOEF, and the appraisal report is submitted to MOEF. Interaction with project proponent, consultation with expert. There is interaction will be there, and the project and after that, proposal placed before the environmental appraisal committee mentioned EIA notification. Then if controversial project, then it may be rejected with prior notification, or clearance may be done. Then in the case of project with environmental forest clearance, then we have project sent to Ministry of Environmental and Forest, and it may be clearance was made or it may be rejected. And if it is rejected, it may be drafted or replanned, and it is again resubmitted to the concerned authority. So all these are written here. Just you are advised to remember some of the Protection Act of Environment and with its year. Then in governance of EA, we have recent advance in EA governance, difference between old and new EIA. This is already stated that in the old Environmental Protection Act 1994 and new, that is in 2006, what is the basic difference? Content of EIA report is there, And just remember students, the EIE report, it is just same as the your project approval at regional center Bhubaneswar. Okay, that is project proposal approval, synopsis approval. So here we have the recent advantage in EIA single window clearance, that is the digital India, that is in the, this is just online method of applying for clearance. EIA and NGT, difference of new and old, then how the content of EIA report is written. Just these are the amendments in 2006 notification. These are the new amendments, that is central decentralized of power from central government to state government, then inclusion of public hearing, and these just read out these dates and the corresponding revisions. Okay. Then single window clearance, this is also known as parivesh. It is proactive responsive facilitation by interactive virtuous and environmental. Single window hub is a single window integrated environmental management system. Like in our Odisha, we have the student admission management system, that is Department of Education, that is higher education, that is your in short it is SAMS, student application management system. So under this the class 11 12, the graduate students, the postgraduate students, and university, that is all the students will access the single window, that is SAMS, to apply for their admission. It's likewise we have a digitalized single window platform, that is known as Parivesh, which is very much nowadays, it is very much user friendly to apply for a project online to MOEF, and accordingly what is your project status, what is the reviewer comment, you just you just know by through login ID and password. Okay, the single registration will be there, sign in option will be there, unique ID will be created. This is a single window interface. Okay. So EIA and NGT is nothing but your National Green Tribunal. It is related to your wildlife protection, biodiversity, that is tribal community protection. So these things are there. So difference between old and new notification, just read out these things. And this is the difference. A clearance, just see here. In 94, it is only MOEF, but in 2006, it is MOEF and state government. That is decentralization of power. Then proponent within order project listed in schedule 1 has to seek clearance from central government. This is the provision 1994. But here 1994 is revised. If it is category A, it is central government. If it is category B1, it is state government, and if it is B2, no requirement of EIA. So under screening based on capital investment and size, this is 94, and this is depend on the type of project you have. Then under scoping, this different number of days are here. The how for how many days an expert can review a project, and what is his or her comment. Then consultation for scoping, no provision. Term of reference, so clearance authority to determine the detailed TOR based on information in Form 1 submitted by the proponent. Site clearance, EIA study, dissemination of draft of EIA report. So this is disseminated, that it is now State Pollution Control Board for B1 type project. So prior to that, in 1994, no provision is there. And public consultation, this is very important. This is in 1994, it is done after EIA study and the opinion were noted and not made public. But nowadays, it is the visual and video documentation were made, and it is included in the final EIA report. So NOC is not mandatory. Obtain SSD as a company. So just read out these things. Okay, it's very much easy. The content of EIA report. So what are the different aspect of EIA report content? Adequately predict the adverse effect, that is the impact, classifies and focus on most important impact, comprehensive inclusive data presented, and biggest perfect definition. Just go through these things, then one by one all the things are here. And in your project paper, that is in your last semester, you are supposed to write your project like this. There's chapter 1 introduction, description of your project, description of your methodology, anticipated environmental impact mitigation measures. So all the things are the analysis and alternatives, that is future aspects, environment monitoring program, additional study, project benefit, environmental cost benefit, environment management plan. So summary and conclusion, and the last one will be bibliography or reference. Okay. So all those, there are 12 per chapters in your EIA report. So accordingly, these are the some of the systematic writing of EIA report writing. So after that, we have challenges, future prospect and scopes. So what are the barriers and recommendation? That is traditional wisdom of local community is a barrier. Quality of EIA report is a must. A number of actions keep of the public way from the clearance process. Just go through these things. Future for EIA. What is the future requirement of EIA nowadays? Previous app is there. Previous single window platform is there to monitorize all the level of reviewing or inspection or assessment of the project. So these are the adequate direction, control, management, arrangement of impairment, consultation, check, observance on environmental standard, each decision of ecosystem disturbance, transparency and accountability of VA report. All the things are there. Okay. So who are the EIA practitioners? So today, so the last part will be EIA and sustainable development. Humanity has the ability to make development sustainable to ensure that it meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. Just read out these things, and up to block 2 it is now almost completed, and tomorrow we will have block 3 and block 4. It will have, I think 448 units are there. So overally, in the last 2 days, we just cover up all the different aspects of EIA, its process, its cost benefit analysis. Then we will discuss the EIA report writing, the different legal and legislative aspect of EIA, and in tomorrow's class, we will have discussion on classification of industry, description of the environmental setting, decision making in EIA and EIA reporting. This is already done. And the last block, and we will have introduction to environmental EIS is there, environmental impact statement. Environmental impact statement is there, risk assessment and risk assessment method. So all these are very much familiar to our day-to-day life. That in our daily life, what are the different type of risks we are come across, and what are the preventive measures we are taking. So like this. So Is there any queries or questions or any suggestion or any query from you students? So now the
Hello,
platform is open. So I, yes, yes, yes.
hello, hello, sir. You have
Yes.
told that format. Sir, you have told that table-like format, but in the right-hand side you have mentioned that article number. On the left-hand side, what it will be, sir?
In the left hand side it is article number, and right hand side it is the description of the article, that what is there in the article, like in article 14, what is its state. This is for your easy remembrance. So to
Yes, sir. Yes,
remember
sir.
the things easily, you just make a note that this is the article number, and it then this article states this. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, one thing more, sir. You have told yesterday that you will give me the phone number
Yes,
regarding
yes.
that.
I just search in my phone, and the number is not with me now. I am trying to collect that one, and hopefully I will send you tomorrow. Okay. Just you just WhatsApp me your name, and I will try to send the number by tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir. Your phone number last it is 892, no, sir?
Yes, yes, yes. That is my number. 89.
Okay, sir. Sir, you will send this PDF not regarding today's class?
Yes, yes, I will send the PDF tomorrow. Okay, not
Okay,
today, this
okay, sir.
tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
welcome, welcome. Namaste.
Sir, EIA notification means what, sir? Notification means is it a policy or amendment?
No, this is an amendment, and because in EIA notification, this is a modification of 1986 Environmental Protection Act. So after the Bhopal gas tragedy in 1984, the government of India realized that some rule and regulation must be there to control the environmental deterioration. We already have, and so that 1986 Protection Act was made. So under that act, we have the amendment, that is the notification in form of a notification, that is 1994. This is the first notification, and after that the second amendment was there, that is in 2004. Sorry, that is in 2006. That is second notification, that is the environmental protection notification second in 2006. So this is just amendments. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So actually these are very historical aspects, and many things are there to remember, and these are very much familiar, and also you can I think you all will write very easily in your answer sheet in your term and examination. So just try to remember the key points, keywords, and the overall flow chart of EIA, and that EIA report writing. This is one of the important question for your MEV-16 government examination paper. Okay. So today we will have block 3 and block 4. So till then, thank you for all for your patience hearing, and I know that in today's class in the mid phase, the class is very boring, because all these are very theoretical aspects, like an essay, just teacher is just read out and we are just listening like this. But this paper is all about that some legal aspects are there, legislation are there, act is there, article is there. So there is no other way of representation of these things. Okay. So where there is some description or something to say, I will just try to describe or modify the things, and so else. So at the end, I am just thankful to you all for your patient sharing, and I again propose a vote of thanks to from RC Bhubaneswar IGNO and from my side to all the participants for their patient sharing and their participation. So thank you. Tomorrow we will have the next class.
Okay, sir. Namaste. Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
sir.
Namaste.